Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Trading Week Recap, series I post on Fridays where we take a look at a few stocks that I personally believe define the week. We will, of course, be looking specifically at the stocks I mentioned in the title, but you guys know the deal with these. We will also scroll down the watch list here on our right, as you can see. Let you guys know what I'm thinking about the equity indices: SPY, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, volatility, the VIX, the dollar, gold, silver, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, EVs, name it. We're probably going to talk about it. Not going to be looking at the chart specifically, but just anything that catches my eye, I'll give you guys some quick thoughts there, just right off the top of my head. Okay, of course, we will kick it off though with the intro to the email newsletter that I sent out this morning to my portfolio newsletter group, just because, again, it sums up some of my thoughts going into the day. It was a pretty, as you can see here, volatile Friday. So you know what, let's just get straight into this. Let's read it. It's a volatile Friday. Not surprised to see it though. You guys know Fridays tend to be on the wilder side, considering there's 2 days of no trading ahead of us. You know, I'm not going to get into that. I want to zoom in so we don't see that, just out of respect for the portfolio. The S&P, Dow, and NASDAQ are all up today following some strong earnings. Also, Hertz, which is the first stock we will be looking at, you know, I'll just move my head. Hertz is up over 130% today following some news of an external line of funding. I'm going to be honest, Hertz at a $350 million market cap almost looks appealing. I'm not going to be trading it, but it's good to see some of these hospitality players who have been beaten down so badly see some fundamental progress. So you guys, Hertz is like the epitome of a company that I really do feel bad for. You can say whatever you want. You can say it was bad business practice. They didn't handle the pandemic necessarily correctly, but they were thrown the ultimate curveball, and it sucks that such a legacy company like Hertz, and I like Hertz. I've used Hertz many times in the past. That's a company that I personally choose to use when I do travel and need to rent a car. They have such a crazy big fleet that is just sitting stagnant, and it sucks. But they got some funding. Their stock's awesome love. Keep in mind, you guys will see how low it is, how low it was prior to this move up. So it's actually not that crazy, but still, we will take a look at that. And it was one of the biggest movers today. It's crazy how much is going on in the markets right now. It can be stressful at times, but it's definitely exciting. Embrace the volatility, guys. It'll pay off in the long run. Let's get into some plays. So I say this all the time. I'll keep saying it because this is one of my favorite quotes. Embrace volatility. All right. Especially at times like these, the markets are so volatile. You guys, I've been trading for years. This is undoubtedly the most elongated period of time. So obviously, like, volatility comes in spurts and in waves, but as far as the 6-month period goes, since those March lows, on this come up, on this bounce back, on this this rally, this relief rally that we've seen over the past half year, this is the most consistently volatile market environment I've ever seen. And trust me, you guys, I came up in crypto, so this is pretty crazy to see things like this. But surprisingly, for how much like actual fundamental craziness and wild things there are in the world right now. COVID, we got the elections coming up, the stimulus talks are just so much geopolitics are just really colliding right now. There's just so much stuff happening, right? You guys get the point here. But there's so much going on right now, and the markets are surprisingly pretty good, okay? So we will get into it, of course. You guys, if you do want one of those bad boys in your email inbox every morning, every trading day during market hours, so it is real-time updates. I do send that out during market open. In this, we went on to talk CRISPR, RIOT, just some of the plays we talk about all the time, some of the plays we talk about and we're talking about today. But again, you guys get it real-time. You guys know my trades, literally every trade in my portfolio, all call options, put options, stock positions, cryptos, and I do send out the email newsletter, not only talking about the trades I made, rationalizing my thoughts, but just giving you guys my thoughts on whatever I'm seeing in the market, whatever's exciting me in the market at that time. So hopefully you guys can use that to your advantage. All right, first link in the description if you want to check it out. Truly appreciate it if you do. It really does help support the channel. If not, no worries at all though. And of course, please like the video if you do want to gain value from it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Appreciate you again. Let's get into this. So Hertz, again, we will cover Hertz. I will cover the story of Hertz and NKLA, actually, which is the other stock we'll be looking at after this. We'll dive into those stories in tomorrow's Waves Weekly. There's surprisingly not a whole lot of just kind of, although I just went on a rant talking about how much news there is, there's not like much exciting news. It's all kind of just the same redundant news, and that's a big thing. I will actually read an excerpt from the intro to Thursday's newsletter that applies to this. So I think people are just getting numb. people are just getting numb to the news, and it's crazy because the news is objectively very significant, but people are just becoming numb to it, and it's just flying over everyone's heads, and the markets are acting as such. You can see here, even the SP, Dow Jones, the equity indices are pretty flat today. Surprisingly, the Dow was up significantly more than the other players, than the NASDAQ and SPY, which are more tech weighted. So the Dow, which is more legacy weighted, was actually up more today because retail, there were some retailers that killed it. Hertz is a good example. Retail earnings that killed it. Hertz didn't announce earnings, they announced that, but retail is doing pretty well right now. So that's a good sign of general consumer sentiment. But anyway, we'll talk about that after. Let's get into Hertz right now. So you can see here, Hertz gapped up from $1 to an absolute high of $2.80. So that is an insane growth. It closed the day at $2.50, up, closing the day up 142%. So we're seeing some crazy moves in here, you guys. When I see things like this, you guys, I don't day trade anymore, at least, but when I did day trade a few years back, I just stopped because I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I was too stressed out all the time. Now I swing trade. That's my style. That's a style that it has proven me successful, or I can find success in it. And it's way easier on the mind. Okay. So anyway, but if you guys want to day trade, nothing against you, there is profits to be made. And I just wanted to show you guys this because we're on the 5-minute candles right here, right? Opened up super high. This is a ridiculous gap up here. This got a little overly optimistic because obviously it's sold off immediately. But when I see a pattern like this right here, specifically right here, I would have jumped in because you can see just higher highs, higher lows, and it broke out. So right here, just as an example, you can see from 645 to just call it 735. Let's call it 745 right here. So in the span of an hour, could have gone from $2 to $2.75. That's a cool, 30-ish percent, give or take a few percent. Cool 30% scalp in an hour. Like, that's solid. But you guys, this is definitely one to trade. I love seeing stocks when they open up so high and come down because it's almost inevitable that it will regain some of those losses if it crashes so hard from $2.85 to a low of $1.67. So yeah, this looks great as far. Let's zoom out here because that's what's really important to me. Let's go to the yearly. So Hertz, you can see here, it's crazy, you guys. Hertz at the beginning in February, before all this happened, was at a high of about $21. Again, it reached a low of $1. These poor guys, just because they reached a low in the peak of their bankruptcy and all those bankruptcy claims of, God, what is that? 39 cents, 40 cents. That's insane, guys. And that's why, again, you guys, I feel so bad for these hospitality players. I like Hertz. I like Hertz as a company. They provide great value, but unfortunately, they have more overhead than almost any company on earth and like a fleet of millions of cars. And that sucks to have in a time when you want liquid and you don't want assets that are just being unused. Okay, so Hertz, again, as I said in the newsletter, Hertz at a $350 million market cap, or 390 now, I guess. That was fluctuating a lot today, obviously, but it doesn't seem like a very bad buy to me in the long term. I can see, I definitely am not bullish on it in the short term, but say a year and a half, 2 years from now, when we do come back to a sense of it's actually going to be new normalcy at this point, because this is normal. What we're doing now is our new normal, is normal. So a previous historic normalcy in like a year and a half, 2 years, I think Hertz could easily get back to, it will be a slow climb from a fundamental perspective, but people are still going to use cars. Travel is going to be back at some point. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the near term. I wouldn't buy Hertz now as a long-term play. I would wait a little bit, wait it out. But I mean, if you can hold, I can say with a lot of confidence, if you can hold Hertz for 10 years, I think it's a great buy right now, personally. But that's just my opinion. You guys know none of this is investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys know the deal there. But just objectively, Hertz at $350 million for like a decade out play, not a bad call. Let's move on from there to NKLA, okay? So NKLA was another big mover today. They released some news as well about kind of dropping the deal with GM. Again, we'll dive into that more tomorrow in the Waves Weekly episode. But NKLA was down, like 27% today. So let's find Nikola Tesla. Tesla was down a little bit today. So NKLA down pretty significantly today. NKLA is just dying right in front of our eyes. And the CEO, again, said that they were pretty much cutting ties with GM. And they think that they can approach this by themselves, as they were trying to in the beginning, and that's terrible news. The only sliver of hope that I had for NKLA was that GM partnership, and that potentially GM would just completely buy them out and assume operations. So that was the single at this point, that was the only sliver of hope I had for NKLA. You guys, I want to let you know that I haven't played NKLA in a long time, and I don't plan on playing NKLA. But after this, I would almost short NKLA. What is NKLA at still in terms of market cap? So still a $7.4 billion market cap. That's really high for not having any trucks on the road. I think they're withdrawing their pickup plans. Again, we will talk about this more fundamentally in tomorrow's Waves Weekly, but it's not looking good. I would almost short NKLA. I think NKLA could easily come back down to the $10 region where it was prior to moving up, because it's objectively, there's nothing, it has nothing going for it except for a promise, and the promise is coming from a super shady dude and their CEO. So NKLA, short NKLA, faux show. The rest of the EV sector, while we're here, looking pretty, I mean, there's some ups and downs. NIO surprisingly was up today. I thought it would fall, but I think I'm pretty confident just looking at this chart on NIO that it will probably come back down, at the very, very least, come down to retest this line that was once resistance, use it as new supports. But you guys, this NIO has gone so parabolic with nothing but an analyst upgrade that it makes me very skeptical, and I don't like charts that look like this. So yeah, keep you guys posted on NIO. Although NIO, I do like NIO a lot long term. I just don't like I'd never like a daily. I don't like daily candles that look like that. It never lasts for a few days without a correction. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see NIO come back down to these recent highs at about maybe $22.50 in the near future prior to resuming a rally. I definitely think it can resume a rally, but I definitely think it will come down to bounce off this region prior to doing so. Okay, but again, long NIO, I think it's a great company. I think it has a lot of long-term potential. Short-term, it's just a little too hype, and you guys know the hype always fades to some extent. Moving on, XPEV, the other Chinese manufacturer, surprisingly down a little bit. Workhorse up a little bit today, but still corrected pretty significantly from its all-time highs. Helion down, Blink doing all right, Spartan Acquisition down. CRISPR and Editas, super exciting today. That was one of the stocks. I'm gonna focus myself quick. CRISPR and Editas, super exciting plays. Did talk about CRISPR specifically in the portfolio today pretty extensively. I'm not going to talk about it now, but super excited about CRISPR right now. I'll tell you guys that much. Moving on, let's talk about Sorrento and Moderna. Of course, we all want to talk about that. We'll kick it off with Moderna and then Sorrento. So Moderna corrected pretty significantly today. You can see Moderna is just kind of erasing all the gains from the past week, which is a bummer to see. But it's still in an uptrend. It's still printing higher highs and higher lows, and I do still expect it. Again, you guys always remember when I draw these arrows, I don't know when. I have no idea when it's going to hit, and you guys should know that I'm not freaking Nostradamus. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think that at some point it will come up to test this line that was once a very strong line of support and use it as new resistance, tier 101. And again, you guys, the further out that date becomes, whenever we choose to hit this line, it becomes the price point is higher. So if we hit it November 10th, for example, I'm not saying it's going to happen or not, I have no idea, it would be at $103. And then, November 15th, it would be at $105. So just keep that in mind, you guys. I do think it is almost inevitable in my mind at some point, though, just because I'm fundamentally very bullish on Moderna as well. I do think they're still the leader in the vaccine race, that we can at least come up here and if they do release news of an efficacious vaccine, I think we could very easily go up to $150, $200. Who knows at that point? So Novio, a lot of red in the sector. We'll obviously take a look at Sorrento here. Sorrento looks terrible. And you guys, this doesn't apply. I don't know why I didn't change this prior to the last stock talk. I did the biotech boom video I released on this because I definitely said that I didn't think this was going to happen. So this is from 2 biotech booms a while ago. Sorry, I didn't change that. But this doesn't surprise me. We broke out of this uptrend, we broke below this line of support over the past few days. And Sorrento really doesn't look good to me right now, you guys. I did say this, keep bringing up the newsletter, but I talk a lot about this stuff in the newsletter. In the newsletter, that I'm very short-term bearish on Sorrento. So I am short-term bearish on Sorrento, still long-term bullish, still have all the fundamentals that I talked about so much over the past few months still apply on the medium to long-term time frames. Short-term looks very bad, though. Stochastic RSI is curling down on the daily. RSI is in a downtrend as well. Everything, volume is going down. Everything is looking bad for Sorrento. So it will take technicals look terrible, you guys. I would not. Technicals objectively look very bad from almost every angle, and the only hope for Sorrento, which I do still have a sliver of hope that this will happen over the coming month or so, is that they can release some banging news. Because although their investor presentation didn't do all that well and didn't impress investors, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as people wanted it to be, as well as good as investors wanted it to be. So that's why we saw it fall off the cliff, and it's obviously fallen off. It bounced a little bit, but that's to be expected prior to continuing the correction downward. So I do still have a sliver of hope fundamentally that Sorrento will release some banging news, and that could, depending on obviously how good the news is, that could catalyze a very significant move up, and we could see a rally similar to what we saw back in August. But from a technical perspective solely, looks very bad, and I'm very short-term bearish on Sorrento, again, unless we get some great news. So moving on, let's just keep scrolling down. Bob and Zoom looking pretty good. It's insane how off the charts Zoom has gotten. I think Zoom. Let's just take a quick look at Zoom. So Zoom, oh my god, I haven't taken a look at Zoom in a while. Zoom is crazy. What's Zoom's market cap right now? Zoom is at $160 billion market cap. What's their PE ratio? We're looking at a PE ratio of, where are you? Price to earnings ratio of 690. Okay, so that's bad. That's, I believe hearing a stat that was the highest in the dot-com bubble. The highest PE ratio was like a third of that. So we're trading at three times the highest price to earnings ratio that was in the dot-com bubble. So the 2000 dot-com bubble slapped .com at the end of it. Even if you had a solid company, it just took off. This looks, I mean, just looking at this, there's no way, no matter how fundamentally strong a company is, and Zoom is very fundamentally strong. Obviously, everyone's using Zoom. Zoom has been on a tear. This is a bubble. This is a bubble. I've played bubbles. You guys know that. That's how I built my career in trading, is by playing bubbles and capitalizing on bubbles when I see them. This is inevitably a bubble, and it will pop. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Zoom correct 50% down to the $280 region once things start to open back up. When that's going to happen, I don't know. It's always hard to call the top of a bubble, but it would make perfect sense to me. It's spent so much time around here. It spent such a heavy area of resistance. And you can see once it broke out of this area, it really started taking off. So it wouldn't surprise me. 50% corrections, you guys, in bubbles are very, very common. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least to see Zoom correct to the $270 region at some point in the future. Maybe near future, who knows. But yeah, this is wild. This is a wild chart. Okay, so cannabis looking bad. I know. I believe Aurora had some pretty bad earnings call, or maybe it was Afria or Aurora had a pretty bad earnings call recently. DraftKings, Penn, pretty flat. Still very bullish on. I mean, very long-term bullish on both. I do think they might be a little overinflated at the moment, though. Amazon, the big dog's down a little bit today. Amazon down 2%. That's a lot for. Keep in mind, you guys, down 1.5 to 2% is a lot for $2 trillion companies. So they obliterated a few billion off their market caps. Snap Lulu, again, Hertz up 140%. That's crazy. Okay, so what else? Oh, Riot and Mara, duh. Okay, so we got to look at Riot and Mara. Sorry, you guys, I was at the lower region of the watch list. I know you guys want to talk about this. I promised this yesterday, so got to fulfill my promises. We'll talk about Riot, Mara, and Overstock to close it out. Okay, so Riot is pretty much right at that previous high right now, and Riot still looks good to me, you guys. You guys know I'm very optimistic fundamentally on Riot, so I thought we were going to get a continuation. Obviously, Bitcoin did fall off a cliff last night due to some news from an exchange halting withdrawals, which is always bad. But as you guys can see here, we kind of got a Bula flag printing. So, boom, right there, right there. I'll call that a bull flag. That's a bull flag, and obviously it's more like, it's gonna be more like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we resolve this bull flag. This looks like a bull flag to me, you guys. Looks enough like a bull flag. We've been covering so many bull flags over this, and they've always played out to the upside. So unless Bitcoin really crashes, which I don't think it will, I think we'll probably regain some of the steam over the weekend and definitely going into next week, just because the fundamentals are so freaking strong for Bitcoin. I think we'll play out this bull flag. I think this will be resolved by the 20th or 21st, most likely the 20th. Okay, so yeah, keep an eye out for that. I think it's very likely that we do resolve this bull flag and pop out to the upside, because that's what a bull flag is. It's a bullish pattern. So again, you guys, remember, I have to keep reiterating this. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but my money's on it. Always know that. So I do think this will come to the upside. That's right. Mara is really, it's showing strength in the sense that it's not really like it's obviously fluctuating. There is a lot of volatility in this. Like a high of 250, a low of 217, where it's at right now over the course of this week, or over the course of the past couple of weeks. So that is definitely volatility, but I just see so much more potential upside in Mara that the day-to-day, like as I mentioned in the newsletter, the day-to-day really means nothing to me, you guys. I'm just so long-term bullish. I do believe that these plays are going to reap extreme benefits. I'm talking, as I mentioned, whatever, earlier this week at some point, maybe last week, I can't even remember at this point, but I'm looking for 10x's. I'm looking for at least a 5 to 10x return on my capital. I'm not looking for even like a 2x. 2x, 3x doesn't cut it. I'm looking for a 10x. And I think Mara and Riot are the two plays in my mind that's probably the two plays I'm most sure about in the equity markets that could 10x my money over the next 6 months. So extremely bullish, you guys. We reached $6 in recent history, or in what was that, in August, early August, when Bitcoin was at like what, 13, 14K or something. So if Bitcoin gets to 20K, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a 20, 30, 40, $50 Mara and Riot. Probably Riot even more, because Riot's fundamentals are stronger in my opinion. But yeah, just letting you guys know. Not going to go into short-term guesses, but I'm bullish on Riot and Mara. You guys know that. Finish it off with Overstock. So Overstock actually, that's not good. So Overstock today broke out of a very strong. You could actually, you know what? Nah. Oh wow, that's so close. So it's pretty much dead set on this line of support. Keep in mind, you guys, Overstock is still showing some correlation to Bitcoin, because obviously T0 is a branch within Overstock that is a cryptocurrency exchange. That's why Overstock initially took off in 2017, is because it has a cryptocurrency exchange and it's pretty lucrative. So, if Overstock next week significantly breaks this, closes the daily candle significantly below this line of support, very bearish, but it's right on the line of support, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it bounce up and just set, because you're still seeing higher highs and higher lows here. It's still in an ascending channel, a pretty healthy ascending channel at that. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Overstock do pretty well next week, just because it'll bounce off here and continue this ascending channel right here, which looks roughly like that. So obviously the next move here would be Overstock to come up. If it does test this again, call it at the end of the month, it would be at $95, $96. So bullish on Overstock unless it breaks below that. If it breaks below that, bearish, short-term bearish at least. But I'm overall bullish on Overstock long-term. Okay, so we'll call it there, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know what you're excited about in the markets right now. Once again, if you guys want to know, if you guys want to get a daily update, real-time updates, not wait for me to cover these once a week, cover some of these plays once a week, twice a week maybe. Again, really appreciate it if you check this out. I wouldn't be plugging it so much literally in every video if I didn't think it brought value and I didn't work really hard on it. So check it out. Appreciate that. Of course, leave a comment down below. Once again, let me know what you're excited about. Let me know what you're looking forward to this weekend, next week, when weekend plans you guys have. Not even market stuff, but just whatever you guys want to talk about. Always love talking with you guys. Love talking to the Waves family. Love learning from you guys. So I'll catch you downstairs. And until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.